Cracks start to appear. The weekend is heating up already. Carapaz up to his old tricks again. This is the Sierra de la Pandera stage, 1,460 Ks. The entree to the Sierra Nevada stage tomorrow, but there were big GC gaps on this stage. Hot conditions, like really hot. I think when they left Montoro, and it looks like 8.5K, 7.5%, but really it's a 20K sort of extended climb. There's steeper sections at the end of Pandera. There's a descent in it. It's a tricky little climb, and it took ages for a breakaway to go. Eventually, stage favorite Richard Carapaz was in that breakaway with Champoussin, Sanchez, Alessandro, Darmirel, Lutsenko, and just bizarrely, Quickstep kept the break like 4 minutes or less all day. I don't understand why. Didn't really go for the stage win either. Just bizarre them pacing so hard on the flatter, hotter sections. But yeah, breakaway start to break up on that. There's a shallow 10K 5% climb at the start. You see here Richard Carapaz not going with the initial moves from Lutsenko and Sanchez, who are trying to get ahead. He's letting Kenny Elissonde, Marco Brenner pace him back, and then Carapaz doesn't pace people back to moves. He attacks across, which is what he does here. Or it does bring Champoussin with him, who had okay legs today, and they start working all well together again, including Conker on Lotto, who was very impressive. And again, Quickstep, they knocked it off a little bit at this point on that climb, but how was Evenepoel feeling? He crashed on the Peñas Blancas stage the other day, and Esteban Chavez, I mean, seems like a nice guy, but he's had some of the worst timed attacks so far this season. Completely pointless attack there. Hessing starts pacing again, and Jumbo-Visma clearly have a plan. The gap is down to 2 minutes 40. He's got the peloton strung out. Sanchez goes clear before the false flat section before Sierra de la Pandera, and Carapaz is pacing here. I don't know where he attacked, but suddenly he got a gap on that group. I don't know if someone lost his will on the descent, but then he bridges across to Sanchez. Lutsenko and Champoussin are looking back, and he's able to start the climb pretty much on his own. Like Sanchez is not pulling with him, and we know like Carapaz is going to drop Sanchez on this climb. And then Ineos, with Carapaz clear, start pacing really hard with Turner on the front. So that really risked Carapaz's stage win. They're trying to keep Rodriguez, I presume, in good position into the base of Sierra de la Pandera. And they've done this throughout the Vuelta. They did a little bit in the Tour de France, but that's taken 15 seconds plus out of his gap. And I mean, it doesn't even help because when they block and slow up, they might have done this on Perez or somewhere else. I don't know, but they slow down to the point where attacks start coming and Rodriguez just gets shuffled back anyway. And when the attacks came later in this stage, the pivotal moment, he wasn't in good position, which is the most important thing, despite having a teammate. So yeah, I was a little bit curious. Van Wilder starts pacing for Evenepoel. I think Vivarca had been pacing before him. Champoussin happy to pace for Carapaz, and Chris Harper, he's been really, really good in the Vuelta. He's really good in hot conditions. We saw it in the UAE Tour maybe last year, and he strings this out and reduces the crew. You see Rodriguez, he's deep in the field, just ahead of Almeida, Kelderman, and Hindley. He's got this in a line, and this is before the steepest section for Primoz Roglic. Carapaz not finessing today. He knows that the gap is like at 1 minute 20. You can't do Hollywood Carapaz. And you see here, both visually and on the graphic on the right-hand side, like how it is flatter on the bottom, maybe 6, 7% still not flat. And then there's really steep pinches in the 5th and 6th kilometer of this climb. And that's where Carapaz can get separation. Van Wilder's pacing really hard. No one knows why. He doesn't know why afterwards. He just knows he was pacing really hard. Rodriguez, you can see, he's got good legs, but he's just not in a good position. And it's go time now. Mas, Roglic, Lopez, Evenepoel's obviously there on his teammate's wheel. And yeah, he's even creating splits and dropping people. He's reduced the group to about 10 guys. Rodriguez does move up now, but he's moving up just at the point, done a little bit of an effort, where, again, 15%, Van Wilder's sending it, and obviously no communication between him and Evenepoel at all, whilst Roglic attacks. Looks, sees Evenepoel, doesn't respond, and he is off. This is what we worried about Evenepoel maybe on the steep gradients throughout the race, deep into the race. Would he be able to hold on if Roglic came good? And he initially didn't react, and he thought, okay, maybe he's just doing his tempo. But then we see, and all the GC contenders were probably thinking the same behind him, and Carapaz has now only got 35 seconds with 3.5 Ks to go, and that's down to 19 seconds. But the answer was that Evenepoel just didn't have it. Lopez and Mas perhaps gave Roglic too much leash and Evenepoel too much respect. They then have to bridge a 15-second plus gap, which they do to him, and Evenepoel is not looking good. He's got padding on that his right hip, which he crashed on. Mas attacks Lopez and drops him initially across to Roglic just to sit on Roglic, which It was kind of a pointless Watt spike and might have cost him, again, Lopez. I think he won on this climb before. It was gap people on this climb before. He knows the climb from a race before. Ayuso flats the worst possible time to have a flat, gets onto the neutral service bike, and Evenepoel just looks night and day to how he looked on Picojano or Peñas Blancas. Looks completely different, struggling on this irregular climb with Roglic. This is his terrain in the hot conditions. Ayuso perhaps overreacts and then goes past Evenepoel, drops him. Champassan's there going, again. Remember, he won on stage 20 last year. They're up ahead of you. And here is Roglic. They drop Lopez again. Him and Mas with this surge. And Lopez, I don't know if he's riding power or just on feel, but he finished this climb the strongest out of anybody. Carapaz, you see here, he's got on over the steep section. That's where Evenepoel's about to get to now. Catches back up to Ayuso and goes past and starts pacing him. And Mas gets dropped. The gap only 26 seconds to Carapaz, about, at this point, 40 seconds plus to Remco Evenepoel. But Mas is about to give back 20 seconds to that group. And he really slows down in the last 1,500 meters. Obviously went over his limit following Roglic and surging to drop Lopez. And here you see death-defying descent off the top of Sierra de la Pandera. Lopez pulling Roglic at this point, and that means they're not going to be able to catch Carapaz. They got it down to like 7 seconds at a point, but he just stays ahead of the GC group, winning his second stage of this Vuelta, perhaps even more impressive, probably more impressive than the one the other day, with Lopez taking 6 bonus seconds, leading Roglic over the line, with Remco Evenepoel and Ayuso losing big time, 48 seconds plus bonus seconds to those guys. Ayuso obviously not happy about the mechanical, not the day Evenepoel would have wanted. Did his team mess up the pacing throughout the stage? I would say yes, not great. Carapaz wins 8 seconds ahead of Lopez and Roglic, and Almeida in 4th on 27, and Rodriguez, Mas, Arensman, Evenepoel, Ayuso, and Kelderman in 10th. Actually, no changes in the order of GC, but Roglic is now on 149 to Evenepoel, Mas 243, Ayuso loses more time to Rodriguez. Lopez is looking threatening though. We've got Sierra Nevada tomorrow. He's won on there in 2017 when they approached via Monachil. They have a harder approach via Hazalanas tomorrow. Will Evenepoel be able to survive? I can't wait to find out. Until that video then, ciao.